Do you want to know how to strengthen your marriage when you're raising kids? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I am the mother of 4, previous foster parent of many, and I teach parenting, good communication, and how to build good, strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. In this video, we're going to be talking about your marriage and what you can do during those crazy child-raising years. In this video, we're going to be talking about what happens to your marriage during those crazy child-raising years and practical steps that you can take to make sure that your marriage stays on track while you're doing that ever-important task of raising the children too. When you first get married, everything in the relationship is just all about the husband and wife, that couple, that spouse, and everything is so fun and playful and childlike, and it's just like everything's free, very liberating, right? And then you want a child so much, and that child comes in and suddenly you feel like shackled. Like, wait, what has happened? Suddenly we don't have as much freedom as we once had. Suddenly now we're not even free to sleep all the way through the night. And as they grow, we think it's going to get better. It's going to get better. But every parent can tell you that as they grow, then there's just new concerns. There's new issues. Now you're staying up later instead of waking up all through the night. Now you're running to different things and you don't have time to cuddle with your spouse. So what do you do? Because what can happen is that there can be a distance that develops in the husband and wife relationship. And you have to be very careful that that distance does not become too wide and that the relationship with the children does not take the place of the relationship with husband and wife. So at the end of the day, I can tell you with full knowledge that once the children are all grown and gone, which is the goal, right? That they will launch off on their own. That's what we want for our children, to be independent, autonomous adults, right? Then what's left? You and your spouse. And I'm at that stage right now. I'm an empty nester, and I see the beauty in my relationship with my husband. And I thought, boy, I am sure glad that we made it through some of those bumpy patches that happen when life is crazy and you need more money because the children are coming and they have needs and the house has to grow and all those things. And so we've got to work so hard and everything else. But also through those times where we felt like we were just stretched thin on time, energy, dealing with childhood problems, all those things, somehow we still came out okay. And it's because we did some key things as a husband and wife to make sure that we were constantly nurturing our relationship. And that's what I'd like to talk about with you today. Another thing that can happen to us in our husband and wife relationship that we need to be very careful about is we can actually lose our identity. So we do have a certain identity in that husband and wife relationship, which is very different than our identity with our parent-child relationship. So we have to make sure that we are constantly focusing on both of those relationships. When you are a parent, even though it takes a lot of your time, you do have to make sure that you are doing something for that other identity. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to have identity or role in a relationship. So I actually have a whole book on roles, and in this book, The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, there's actually a couple and their family, and because it's a story and you learn through the story. And in this book, the husband and wife are starting to see themselves as against each other. This means that they've lost their roles in the husband and wife relationship, because when husband and wife are seeing themselves as counter to each other or warring with each other, then they are not being what they are supposed to be for each other in their role or identity in that husband and wife relationship. As a helpmeet, you should be seeing yourself as there for the other person. You are someone who is the other half of that other person, which means that you are always focusing on them, even though there are other concerns that are around you all the time. I know sometimes as a mother, especially if you're a mother who stays at home with your children throughout the day, which I know I did for a long time while I was running businesses and everything at the same time, I felt like there were so many priorities and tasks that were weighing on me, and that was all I could see was that. And I forgot that I still had a duty to that other role in my life, which was to look out for my husband. And I know that people are thinking, well, come on. Does the lady have to look out for everything? No, she doesn't. But if I don't look out for that relationship, if I don't think, how can I serve him today? How can I help him today? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to become myopic about just my thing and what I'm focusing on. And when I do that, I lose the identity of wife. I stop being unified and one with him, which actually becomes then a really big problem. And the same thing could happen for him, whether he's at home or whether he's at the office. If he is just focusing in on his tasks, his projects, and he only thinks about what he wants to do next. Oh, now I'm going to go play golf. Now I'm going to go, whatever it is I'm going to do, or okay, I'll do those things for the kids. But he's not thinking about how to serve the other person. Then suddenly he loses his husband identity as well. We need to make sure that we're constantly protecting our roles and our identities by making sure that we're looking out for each other and being helpmeets for each other as well. All right, I'd like to share with you some practical steps that you can do to improve your husband and wife relationship. But before I do, click on the subscribe button now. This channel has a ton of great content that is filled with good principles of communication that won't just help you and your children, which is going to benefit your marriage, but it will also directly help your marriage. So click on the subscribe now. First, make sure that you have a regular time to play together, because that's what you did before the children were there. So you need to have a date night. I know people talk about that a lot. I'm not going to spend a ton of time there because that's common advice that's given to improve a husband and wife relationship. But it really can't be overstated. You've got to have time to play and to talk where it's just you. My husband and I decided years ago that we would have one night a week that was dedicated to our date night. So we always had Saturday night as date night for us, and this was very therapeutic. We didn't just do that though. We also made sure that we had retreats from time to time. Even if we just took the children to Grandma and Grandpa's house and then we had a night or maybe two, just ourselves, those days and those nights, to talk about those things that we wanted to for our family, to work on projects that maybe we weren't having the time to get to. Or sometimes we even stayed in a hotel room in a hotel that was literally just down the street from our house, because we thought, well, we can't be very far because the children are small. If they need something, we need to be able to run over, but we still need to have a retreat. And obviously we had somebody come and stay with the children, but just in case there's an emergency. So you don't even have to go far. Obviously we had some other trips and stuff that were further away sometimes too, but making sure that you set that time aside is a really important thing. It shows that you value the relationship and that it has a priority in your heart. Second, make sure that you deliberately plan for how you will discuss family problems. This is important because sometimes those little family problems or differing of opinions can get in the way, can start making you feel like you're your own island and not unified together as one. So what we did was we decided to have regular couples meetings. In our family, we have 3 different meetings that are planned. Always happen Sunday afternoons. We have couples meeting, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. Then we have family meetings. This is where the whole family meets together. And then we have individual mentor meetings. So where both parents meet with the child individually every single week. These meetings help us communicate well as a family and solve problems as a family. But the foundational meeting, the one that you don't ever want to miss, is this couples meeting. So these are journals where we keep all of our meeting notes. Let's talk about the couples meeting and how to make an effective couples meeting. An effective couples meeting is no longer than 30 minutes, because if you make them too long, one person will just continue to vent and vent and vent, and the other person really doesn't look forward to the next couples meeting. You know your personalities, you know who is the person who's going to go on and on, get sidetracked or whatever. So keep them to a time limit. We had 30 minutes. We also had a place that we would have them. We had them in our bedroom room, but no one was allowed to sit on the bed. So we had other places that we would sit to make sure that nobody fell asleep during the couples meeting, which was also important. Now, both husband and wife need to be there, of course. Some people start their couples meetings with a prayer, others don't. We often did that because we're religious people and we like to bring God into the mix as well. Then we would talk about the scheduling. So what's going on in the week? What projects do we need to be working on? What's coming up with the children? Those kinds of things. Those things that seem to take so much time. Get those out of the way and never take longer than like probably 10 or 15 minutes of your 30 minutes on that scheduling. Then we move to family business. Things that we are concerned about for the family. Where do we want to go on our family vacation this year? Or maybe, what type of humanitarian project we want to do at Christmas time. Things that we do as a family. Maybe we're going to go through some options for car buying during this couples meeting. After we talk about family business, then we talk about the children and what we can do to help the children. So we take each child one by one and we discuss them. I share with Dad things that he may not know that are going on in the lives of the children so that he can better help them when we have our meetings after the couples meeting. He also talks to me about areas of focus that he thinks, that he sees, and we come up with plans for how to help our family. And then finally, we spend the last little bit of time talking about our couple relationship. Now, obviously, if the couple relationship needs the most help, spend the majority of your time there. But usually the types of things that we talk about in our couple relationship is, how are we communicating? Can we do any better? Do we have any needs that we can tell to each other so that we can make sure that we're looking out for each other? Can we make plans for our upcoming date that we're going to be having, or the retreat that we have planned for ourselves? These are things for our couple relationship that are important that we discuss together so that we make deliberate plans to strengthen our couple relationship. Now, another thing that we will discuss in our couple relationship is how we will correct each other if one person is starting to do something that another person thinks might not be a good idea. So this brings me to the thing that divides couples the most, and that is how the child rearing is happening. So many people are not on the same page in their parenting, and this creates contention in their husband and wife relationship. If they can get on the same page in their parenting, that makes all the difference. Now, I know for some people that's like pie in the sky. They're like, okay, I'm turning this off right now because he or she is never going to be on the same page with me. Well, you might be surprised. My husband and I did not used to be on the same page, and now we are totally on the same page. He is like the missionary of the teaching self-government parenting model, which is what I teach. So there are ways to get on the same page. In fact, I have a book that really helps get on the same page. Actually, I want to make a correction. I have 2 books. So this book, Popular Parenting Methods, is probably the #1 book that people use to get on the same page as husband and wife. It talks about the different types of parenting, the results that you find, and the stumbling blocks, the things that you might not be noticing that you're dealing with because of your form of parenting, and helps get you on the right track and leads you into this book, Parenting a House United. So Parenting a House United gives you all of the tools and principles that you need to correct problems not only with the children, but in your husband and wife relationship. It teaches you how to do all of the meetings that I just talked about and how to solve problems in a calm and effective way while teaching the children how to govern themselves and you governing yourself too. If you've enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy my next video, which is actually a full class dedicated to helping you overcome some of those traps in your communications and your relationships that you might not recognize you're falling into. The video is called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. Click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.